I am your fearless leader, Clay Travis. Tuesday edition of the program. Every day is running together. I am theoretically headed to Mexico tomorrow, so you may not see these shows for the rest of the week. Doesn't mean anything's up. Just means that I'm hopefully down in Mexico. I'm going to take off. Tomorrow early morning, I'll do the radio show, and then we're supposed to take off and head down to Mexico. I hope all of you, like I said, are having a good time and that your weeks are off to a good start. I'll be live on Fox Bet Live here in a moment. I'll continue to do TV all week, but I'm going to be down there breaking everything down in terms of sitting at the pool. I hope to be having a lot of margaritas. I hope to be living it up in perfect 80-ish degree weather, and I can't wait to get down there. So that is what is going on with my life. So this is the last day this week, potentially, although I know we got a bunch of news stories to get to, that you will be seeing me on this program, theoretically be back on Monday. I want to tell you right off the top, news, obviously, we're tracking this like everybody else is, many people in the world of sports and beyond. Tiger Woods, serious one-vehicle traffic accident that occurred this morning. He is reportedly in surgery with multiple injuries. He had to be extracted from the vehicle with the jaws of life. The accident happened near Palos Verdes. If you guys know Los Angeles very well at all, Palos Verdes up on the, let's see, I'm going to have to do my math, outside, just on the edge of the greater Los Angeles area. There is a spectacular resort right there called Terranea, which I have been fortunate enough to stay at several times, looking back down the peninsula, I guess north down the peninsula. This is on the south side of Los Angeles, if I am thinking about it correctly, as if you were going from LA down to San Diego. I have been on that road many times where he reportedly has driven off. Obviously, I'm not a native, but that is a very windy road up there. Early in the morning, Tiger Woods alone, reportedly in the vehicle, driving by himself, seriously injured. You've seen the pictures. The pictures are up at OutKick.com. He is reportedly in surgery right now. I just encourage you to be a little bit cautious about what reports you believe and what exactly out there, because it is so difficult oftentimes with breaking news stories like this to know with 100% accuracy what is being reported and what is not being reported. But I am going to read you the absolute latest from OutKick so that you are able to hear it directly from me. We'll obviously be updating this story all day long at OutKick.com. And here is the picture is awful of Tiger Woods' car accident, the crash that he had. Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department has put out a statement. Here is that statement. On February 23rd, 2021, at approximately 7:12 a.m. LA time, the LA Sheriff's Department responded to a single vehicle rollover traffic collision on the border of Rolling Hills Estates and Ranchos Palos Verdes. The vehicle was traveling northbound on Hawthorne Boulevard at Black Horse Road. When it crashed, the vehicle sustained major damage. The driver and sole occupant was identified as PGA golfer Eldrick Tiger Woods. Mr. Woods was extricated from the wreck with the jaws of life by Los Angeles County firefighters and paramedics, then transported to a local hospital by ambulance for his injuries. The traffic investigation is being conducted by investigators from the LA Sheriff's Department at Lomita Station. So, this accident, if you look at it, there is a picture out of the incident and where exactly it took place. And again, for those of you who know the Los Angeles area well, this is on the south side of LA County, and Tiger Woods was traveling back north early in the morning, 7:12 a.m., not early in the morning like 1 or 2 a.m. So that's important to note after the sun had come up in LA, but early in the morning, and this report did not come out until around 11:30 Pacific time, which means about 4 hours or so, this story did not go public. I know a little bit about where Tiger Woods was headed, but I'm not going to get into that. There is I'm sure that detail will come out in the near future, but he had an event that he was traveling to continue his work. So like all of you out there, Tiger Woods' redemption story. I know a lot of you have been watching that HBO special about his life that was out there. One of the greatest moments in recent golf history was watching Tiger Woods win both down in Atlanta, but also more importantly and impressively at Augusta, to come back after many people had believed his career was over with all of the pain that he was under from back issues, from leg issues, from all of the different injuries that he had sustained over the course of his career. To win that green jacket one more time at Augusta over the age of 40 was one of the great championships in the history of golf in terms of how it just energized everyone and brought us all back together again. Watching Tiger Woods on that course at Augusta was a majestic experience for sports fans who remember all the way back to, I believe it was 1997, when Tiger won his first green jacket at Augusta at an incredibly young age. I'm around the age of Tiger Woods, so in many ways, I feel like, there's athletes who are around your age that you feel like you have grown up with. You've seen them as young single guys. You've seen them grow into being dads, troubles in their private, personal life, maybe difficulties in business, and you feel a unique kinship. I think that's commonplace when you're around the same age as a high-profile athlete, and those athletes have to deal with their own athletic mortality, oftentimes at a much younger age than many others of us do. And so that is, we're hoping that Tiger Woods is going to be okay. Again, I will scroll through here and see if there is any absolute latest update out there, but I was just reading the statement from the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, and you can see those pictures of his car that are out there. Obviously, when you have to be extricated with the jaws of life, it is a very serious issue out there, and that is challenging in general to think about what Tiger Woods is going to be capable of going forward. In the meantime, with reports of injuries in late February that are this significant, I do think that the likelihood of being able to, in any way, be able to play golf anytime soon is far from the level of being able to even contemplate at this point. We're just hoping that Tiger Woods is going to be able to get back to good health, and that ultimately he's going to be able to get released from the hospital and recover as best he can. So that is the news that is out there about Tiger Woods as we go forward. Tiger Woods' traffic accident early in the morning, that is going to be the number one story in the world of sports. I'm sure we'll be talking about this tomorrow morning early as we break down the latest as it pertains to Tiger Woods. There are, however, a lot of different stories that are not anywhere near being massively updated in the world of sports right now. A couple of other stories that I want to hit you with. Canada has voted to remove the Olympics from China, the Winter Olympics in 2022, citing genocide that is taking place in Canada, and that being not in any way in conjunction with the Olympics, rewarding the Chinese with the 2022 Winter Olympics. I believe the United States should do the same. And in fact, there is a bill pending in the United States Congress which Speaker Nancy Pelosi has to allow a vote to be taken on, which would also call for the United States to exert maximum pressure on the International Olympic Committee to require them to remove the 2022 Winter Olympics from China. I would float this idea right now. Given the fact that the United States and Canada tend to very often dominate the Winter Olympics, why don't we throw our own Winter Olympics, invite countries that believe in the rule of law and are not committing genocide to choose whether or not to come to our Olympics or to travel to Beijing? I'm going to be talking about this tomorrow on my show, but I don't think we should be rewarding China for the way that they have allowed COVID to spread outside of their country and for their lack of willingness to share basic information and to lie, in fact, with the data that they initially put out about COVID. And then you combine that with the genocide that's going on with the Uyghur Muslim population in, I believe it's northwest China. We can't in any way countenance that and continue to endorse it. Basic human rights are the floor for what any country that is going to be representing the Olympic torch should have to stand for. And so I give credit to all of those Canadian legislators who are willing to stand up to China. I would call upon the United States to do the same, and I would call upon Speaker Nancy Pelosi to also allow this to happen. And let me read one of the members of the House of Representatives sent a message to me this morning. I want to give him credit. Guy Rincenthaler, I might be mispronouncing his name, as well as Representative Waltz Press. They introduced a resolution. This is a tweet that I'm reading from him to me. Clay, Representative Waltz Press, and I retweeted it, introduced a resolution in Congress urging the International Olympic Committee to rebid the 2022 Winter Games or risk having the U.S. and other countries boycott the Games. China should not be rewarded for their human rights abuses. And I agree. And I think the United States Congress and the United States Senate should weigh in on this, send a message to China that we're going to stand up to Chinese genocide, and at a minimum, not allow them to host the 2022 Winter Olympics. And I'd just say, what a great stimulus move this would be for the United States. Why don't we throw our own Winter Olympics? Canada already is saying they don't want to go to China. Let Canada and the United States jointly host this event. Maybe put some of it in Seattle, some of it, I'm just spitballing here, put some of it in Seattle, put some of it in Vancouver, right along the border there where you can easily have access. We know Vancouver has the facilities because they've hosted the Winter Olympics before, or come down to Salt Lake City or wherever you feel like you need to go, where we have the facilities and we have the capabilities to host the Winter Olympics in 2022. We can no longer continue to reward China for its intransigence. We need to hold them accountable for all of their international human rights violations, including genocide. We shouldn't allow the closest thing to a modern Nazi state that exists in the world today to host the Olympics. This can't turn into Berlin 1936 all over again. So props to Canada and everybody who stood out there and took the action to stand up to China when many will continue to make excuses for them. DirecTV. This is a massive story. If you've been wondering about the overall collapse of the cable and satellite bundle, DirecTV was sold to AT&T in 2015 for $67 billion, if you count the debt that was taken on by AT&T in 2015. A small subset, a minority stake of DirecTV is now being sold to TPG Private Equity for $15 billion. Now, I am not great at math, but basic math would tell me that means that in the space of the past 5 years and change, DirecTV's valuation has gone from $67 billion to $15 billion. That is a loss of $52 billion. $52 billion with a B of AT&T's money that is 100% reflected in the collapse of the cable and satellite bundle. AT&T has lost over $50 billion by buying DirecTV in the space of 5 years. That's an unbelievable trend line. Again, $52 billion lost in the space of just a few years. A couple of other stories that are out there. Isaiah Wilson was the first-round draft pick of the Tennessee Titans out of the University of Georgia, right tackle. He played only 4 snaps so far in 2020 season. He tweeted yesterday before deleting it that he was done with the Tennessee Titans. You guys can tell me right now, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, who is the worst first-round draft pick of all time? I think Isaiah Wilson is trending towards that level. Some of you would say Johnny Manziel, Jamarcus Russell. Lots of other quarterbacks tend to get a lot of the attention at the top of draft bust, but those guys played multiple games and multiple years. What's going on with Isaiah Wilson, he may never start a game. He may not play in more than 1 game in his entire career. He may not play more than 4 NFL snaps. For a first-round pick, this is unheard of. What a swing and a miss by the Tennessee Titans. This is an unprecedented failure of drafting on their behalf. So that is the latest on Isaiah Wilson. I want to tell you guys, speaking of the latest, I'm about to go down to Mexico, as I just told you. And when I go down to Mexico, I'm going to be down there with my wife, and hopefully at some point in time, she is going to be willing, hopefully she's going to be willing to sleep with me when we're on vacation. And if she is going to be doing that, a part of the reason is going to be because I have taken care of my grooming, all right? When you look at me, you think, hey, there's not a guy who's taking care of himself better. We got the weed whacker here. We've got cologne. And also, we've got all of these other different products to help make sure that you are able to take care of your crown jewels. Manscaped's here to provide you the best tools for your grooming experience, precision's engineered tools for your family jewels. You don't want an injury. If you've ever tried to trim below the belt, you know that the wrong pair of clippers can lead to an incredible amount of pain. That's why you need the Lawnmower 3.0, best hygiene tool for the modern man. They have technology to keep you from getting snags and getting all cut up below the waist, which is an awful feeling. I know a lot of you are cringing just thinking about it. It's happened to a lot of people out there. It's not just below the belt, though. How about your nose hair? How about your ear hair? How about all of this different issue with all of the hair growing places you don't want to be taking it there? Also, you can get anti-chafing ball deodorant. It's going to be golf season soon. You're going to be outside, starting to warm up. 65 degrees today. You start to sweat a little bit more. How much different can that make? Get 20% off and free shipping with the code DBAP20 at manscaped.com. Again, 20% off. Look at all these great, fantastic products. As we start to get into a warming condition, you need to make sure that your sweat and your lower regions are taken care of. Go to manscaped.com, 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use the code DBAP20. It's written right here on my shirt, DBAP20 for 20% off and free shipping. And as always, trust me, your balls will thank you. Finally, this is a big story, and I don't know how much attention it's getting out there, but I think it deserves to be getting a lot of attention. The Attorney General for Joe Biden has been nominated. His name is Merrick Garland. You may remember him because he was Obama's nominee to potentially replace Antonin Scalia, former D.C. Court Circuit Judge, eminently reasonable person. He is nominated to be the next Attorney General of the United States. He was asked at his hearing whether or not biological men should be able to play women's sports, and he said that was a tough question. This is not a tough question. Biological men should not be able to play women's sports because biological men have physical advantages that women don't. They are bigger, stronger, and faster than women. This has been reflected in the state of Connecticut, where there were 15 different state high school records recently set by a biological man who was identifying as a woman and decided to compete against women. There was a lawsuit filed on behalf of high school girls who were having to compete against biological men and were losing. A stat that will blow your mind. There were 300 high school boys who posted a faster 100-meter time in this most recent year, back in 2019, than the best women's track athletes of all time. Let me repeat that. The best male track athletes in high school, 300 of them would have set the all-time record for fastest women's runner ever. Men are bigger, stronger, and faster than women. They shouldn't be competing against women. Biological men should not be competing against women. And people say, well, they're getting treatments to limit their testosterone and all these other different things. Yes, but you were allowed to grow based on having testosterone. So if you are fully grown as a man and then you start to identify as a woman and start to get treatment to up your levels of estrogen and lower your levels of testosterone, your overall size, your height, your shoulder width, your musculature, all of that has already been developed based on basic biology. So look, this shouldn't be a difficult decision to make. It's not a hard choice in any respect. We have women's sports and we have men's sports. The reason we divide the sexes is because if men and women were all in a unisex competition, women would never win. Worse than that, women would never make teams, okay? Almost no women would be able to even make a male team in almost every sport. That's why we separate the sexes, because biology is real and men are bigger, stronger, and faster than women. It doesn't mean that some women are not bigger, stronger, and faster than some men, okay? But over time, men are going to dominate in athletic competitions if they are competing against women. And so this is not a difficult answer. You're not being biased against transgender athletes by saying that men, people who were born men, should not be able to compete against women, because ultimately that effectively will end, if we allow this to occur, it'll end women's sports, because biological men would dominate even if they are transitioning or transgender women. Let me just explain this. Think about this in the context of Caitlyn Jenner. If Bruce Jenner, after winning the Olympics in 1976, had decided suddenly to become a woman after he won the decathlon as a man, he would have easily won the decathlon the next time he could have competed as a woman. That wouldn't be fair to all the women decathletes who were attempting to compete. This is basic fundamental fairness. It also pits transgender issues against Title IX. It's feminist against transgender-related issues. The reason why people don't want to make a choice there is they're having to choose on the identity politics pyramid, one side or the other. I'm telling you what the right answer is here. Women should compete against women, and men should compete against men. That's the answer. That's been the answer for decades. It's been the answer ever since men and women were divided for purposes of athletic competition, because otherwise men would win all athletic competitions because of being bigger, stronger, and faster. That's not sexism. That's basic biology. All right, before we go here, I'm going to hop in and check and see if there is any later update here on Tiger Woods, and see as I scroll through to give you the absolute latest update. I will be live, by the way, on Fox Bet Live at 4 o'clock Eastern. 5 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Mountain, 2 o'clock Pacific time. All right. I love all of you. DBAP unless you need to SBAP. If you like OutKick, go sign up for the OutKick VIP at outkick.com/VIP. That's outkick.com/VIP. This has been OutKick the Show. Thanks for hanging with us. DBAP unless you need to SBAP.